Welcome. Today, we're going to explore a really powerful mental model from an ancient text, one that can honestly change how you navigate the world. It comes from a book called The Kybalion, and it all starts with a fascinating paradox. So let me just start with a question that might sound a little, a little counterintuitive. We're always taught that being certain is a good thing, right? It's a sign of strength, a virtue. But what if, just what if, holding on so tightly to being right, to being 100% certain, is actually a trap that makes our thinking fragile? I mean, think about it for a second. The moment we lock ourselves into a single, unshakable viewpoint, we kind of close the door to any new information. That deep desire for absolute certainty can make our thinking really rigid, totally unable to adapt when reality, throws us a curveball. And that's what we're going to call the certainty trap. And look, this trap isn't just for big, abstract philosophical debates. Oh no, it shows up everywhere, in our jobs, in our relationships, even in our personal habits. So what we're about to do is unpack a tool that helps you escape it. It's a way to hold multiple truths at once and navigate life with a whole lot more wisdom and flexibility. Now, the solution to this problem of rigid thinking is a concept called the divine paradox. It's a really elegant idea. And it's all about learning how to hold two completely opposite ideas in your mind at the exact same time without letting it break your brain. So what is this paradox really? Well, the Kybalion suggests that on one level, the entire universe is like a mental creation. It's fluid, it's subjective. But on another level, it is a very, very real place with physical laws that are as solid as iron. I think the best way to think about this isn't as some mystical belief, but as a powerful mental operating system. This chart here shows the two sides of the coin perfectly. You've got the absolute truth, which is the big picture view, the idea that reality is ultimately subjective, almost like a dream. Then you have the relative truth, which is just our everyday experience. The world is undeniably real, and its rules have real consequences. The key is that both are true, just from different vantage points. So here's the most crucial point. We're not supposed to solve this contradiction. We're meant to live inside of it. The ability to hold both truths, that the universe is, and yet it is not, without feeling the need to pick a side, well, that is a true hallmark of intellectual mastery. And this is exactly where we have to be careful. Our language, it often forces us into this either-or kind of thinking, but reality is so much more complex than that. The book gives a strong warning against what it calls half-truths. That's when you pick one side of the paradox and just ignore the other. And that isn't wisdom, it's a really dangerous oversimplification. This quote just perfectly captures the danger. If you treat the world as only a dream, completely ignoring its real, physical laws, you're not enlightened. You're basically a sleepwalker. And eventually, reality is going to give you a very, very rude awakening. This isn't some clever escape. It's a direct path to failure. So to avoid this trap, the text gives us this beautiful metaphor. The first part is, keep your mind ever on the star. What this means is, always hold that higher, absolute truth in your awareness. Remember the big picture, that the universe is mental, that you are so much more than just your immediate circumstances. Now, the other half of this instruction is just as important, but watch your footsteps in the mire. The mire, that's the messy, practical, everyday world we live in. This means you have to pay full attention to the ground right underneath your feet, respect the physical laws, and navigate the world as it actually is, not just as you wish it was. The goal, then, isn't to deny the messy reality of the mire. Not at all. The real skill is something the book calls transmutation, which really just means using your higher perspective to skillfully navigate those lower-level, day-to-day challenges. It's all about smart engagement, not escapism. Okay, so how does this high-level philosophy actually help us? Let's bring this right down to earth with 3 very practical, everyday examples. First up, let's take a look at your professional life. We have all been there, right? Bogged down in the daily grind, feeling like we're totally losing sight of the bigger picture. So, in this context, the star is your long-term vision, the mission of your work. The mire, that's the tedious spreadsheet, that difficult client call, the endless stream of emails. The wisdom here is to hold both at once. You keep that big vision in your mind while you execute the small daily tasks with your full attention. This is what prevents burnout and gives real, genuine meaning to the daily grind. Okay, next up, let's apply this to our relationships because, man, they can often feel full of contradictions. In a relationship, the star is that deep love you have for someone, the incredible potential you see in them, their highest self. The Mire is the storm of the moment. You know, their annoying habit, that argument you had this morning, their bad mood. If you only focus on the Mire, it just leads to constant criticism. But if you only focus on the star, you end up ignoring real problems. Wisdom is building a bridge between them, seeing their best self while calmly and compassionately addressing the real issue at hand. This lets you have both deep acceptance and healthy boundaries. And finally, let's talk about personal growth and building new habits. This is a huge one. When it comes to habits, the star is the future version of you, that healthy, skilled, amazing person you're working to become. The Mire is the single action you have to take right now, that one workout you really don't feel like doing or that one healthy choice. We procrastinate when we get lost in the Mire and forget about the star. The wisdom is to connect them. Let the vision of your future self be the motivation for the action you take in this present moment. That small, tedious action becomes the literal building block of that future you. All right, now I want to give you a super simple technique you can use anytime you feel stuck or conflicted. Let's call it the paradox reset. It's a simple 4-step process. First, just pause. Take a breath. Next, acknowledge the Mire. That just means naming the immediate problem out loud, like, wow, this project is really frustrating me. Then, remember the star. Acknowledge the bigger truth. But this project is really important for my career. And finally, choose. From that more balanced place, you decide your next action. This simple trick moves you from a knee-jerk reaction to a conscious, thoughtful response. Okay, let's bring it all together and just quickly recap the key takeaways from all this. So first, remember that absolute certainty can be a trap. Real wisdom is found in flexibility. Second, the divine paradox teaches us that reality has two sides, the subjective and the objective, and both are true at the same time. Third, this means holding the big picture, the star, in your mind while you navigate the messy details of daily life, the Mire. And finally, you can use this mental model to bring way more clarity and wisdom to your work, your relationships, and your personal goals. So I'll leave you with this final thought. The goal isn't just to understand this paradox intellectually. It's to embody it, to actually live it with skill and with excellence. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. You can find more like this one right here on our channel.